Hello, and welcome to another Abuse Cartoons stream. This is a Saturday night special because I have been unable to be here for many days. There's been terrible rain in Japan, and they keep shutting down the trains, so you either get stuck, on one end or the other, and I opted to get stuck at home. So it's been a while since I've been here and was unable to do any streaming, but now I'm here on your Saturday night, most likely. Sunday morning for me, as you can see. Kind of a dreary day. We're still getting over all that rain. But, yeah, they were telling us it was going to happen, and I guess it did. But, yeah, it was very unusual. Where I live, there was evacuations, and at 1 a.m., this kind of voice of God giving you this warning about where to go and what to do. There's I guess, kind of a, citywide PA system that can talk to the whole valley. And the valley's, of course, kind of surrounded by hills and mountains. And so very strange and echoey. And it's a terrible thing to listen to at 1 in the morning. And they also kind of render their emergency messaging system kind of useless by just flooding you with messages. So everyone's phone, in the entire area in that whole kind of city, or the whole kind of, that area that was getting warnings is just having their phone constantly going off with this, the world is ending alarm that they can force through everybody's cell phone. But they tell you that something bad is happening, and then they tell you now it's not happening anymore. Then they tell you it's happening, that's not happening anymore. But it's the same alarm. So over and over and over again, all through the night, you have probably some idiot with a keyboard just sending these messages out, and think that they're doing some kind of duty, and all they're doing is alarming people, freaking them out, and keeping them up all night, saying alert, no alert, alert, no alert. It's amazing. So I think it's just poorly run and poorly administered, because obviously someone is just sitting there and they think better safe than sorry, so they keep just spamming you literally with alert messages. And usually the only time you hear those messages is right before an earthquake. Your phone goes off and then there's a big earthquake, and that's the only time you hear that. So when it's just raining heavy outside and you have these messages constantly going off, it's a bit ridiculous. So that was nice. That made for some fun. And so they were giving a lot of mudslide and flood warnings from people in the valley near the rivers, and we're kind of on a mountainside, so I guess mudslides are possible, although it hasn't happened before. But they do have, I guess, because Japan is a volcanic island, and basically you have rock and then you have just earth on top of that, so enough water gets underneath and you just have these huge slides of land with trees still intact, and it's kind of careening down mountainside. So we didn't have anything like that, but that's the fear. That's what they're worried about with this prolonged heavy rain. And it's unbelievable. It's the heaviness of the rain when it comes full force. You can barely move around and you can barely stand up. And I mean, it's like taking the most insane shower you've ever taken. There's no way you can do much of anything. I'm sure only people on fishing boats have felt that kind of water. It's pretty insane. So that is the delay, and that explains why I am here with you on a Saturday night. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. And I don't know if I'm actually getting any notifications out about this starting. They just disabled, I guess, Facebook. So I can't talk directly to Facebook with the restreaming service I'm using. So I think I'm, informing people much less. So I need to, revamp the website and get things a little more automated. So that'll just take some time. But please hang in there. And hopefully there will be, more ways to kind of interact and more ways to know what's going on soon. I am relying on Twitter, and I don't think, following the Twitter, it's just going to give you notifications of streaming, and I'm not posting I'm not posting cartoons there yet, although I should maybe connect things up. That may be a good project, is to get everything connected and talking to each other. So if you find this, no matter where you find this strip, you're there in the whole ecosystem. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I am still here and still doing this, and still everything is still happening. So I wonder if anyone was suspicious or guessing, finally he has relented, but not happening. That's I guess one of my admirable qualities is I can keep doing something even though it's pointless. I don't know if that's a admirable quality, but that's something I'm capable of doing, is moving forward when there's no longer any point or any use. Yeah, this isn't gonna do what I want it to do. Let's see here. Sorry, I got the microphone in a strange position now, so I'm gonna be hitting it a little bit more. I kind of reconfigured things and did another light. Now I have a light here that's hopefully helping this blowout in the back. I think for a while I was a bit of a silhouette, especially on sunny days. So maybe now it's not so bad. And I've got a little bit of light on my side to kind of balance things out, make that lovely HD worthwhile. Oh wait, maybe to here. So that explains the timing of this, I hope, for anyone that's interested. And I'll continue. I have another quick convenience store bit I can hit you with a little later. So I still haven't found the perfect timing for that, if that should be between the cartoons or before I write them. I think last time I actually did it before I wrote the next one, or before I wrote the jokes for them. So maybe that's a good break point, although that's not halfway. So we'll see how much that matters eventually. Okay, there's an umbrella. So I've got water on the brain. Oh yeah, I guess it's a pretty good scale too. Let's tip it off a little bit this way. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so speaking of rainy weather, this is yeah, what everyone was dealing with. All right. And I don't know. Something should be here, but I'm not sure. Yeah, let me think about that. Or I guess I can actually think and draw out loud. And again, I was talking about the possibility of just doing this as an audio only if it's interesting enough and there's not too much visual. I know the drawing is visual, but hopefully the banter, I think that's between more than one person. The creepy talking to myself is interesting enough just to have as an audio only thing. So I'll try that at some point, but I think it's going to have to be augmented a little bit, though. You need some compression and a little bit of cleaning up the audio so it's more comfortable to listen to on your headphones. But we'll see. We'll see how and when that happens, just like everything else. Yeah, so I'm thinking paper bag. What else would you be protecting in the rain? Yeah, that's possible. So, yeah, there really isn't. Things have been so distracted with the acts of God, the kind of what nature's been doing to us here, that yeah, there haven't been any big creative thoughts or anything that I've been working on otherwise. Maybe a little bag. I don't know. Well, we'll see. Let's go on to something else. Get warmed up a little with this and see what I can do. So, yeah, I've been on the verge of having some, let's see here. On the verge of having some new work, some new freelance work, and it's just not happening. I guess it's not getting funded or whatever. So it's been wait and see for weeks now, kind of on and off and on and off, and that's been really frustrating. I don't like the, I should just move on and be doing something else. I don't like this. Well, I'm suspecting, and I think I may have talked about this before, but I'm suspecting what's happening because I know there's money there, and I know funds have been moved from investors to the actual studio I'm supposed to be working for. And I don't know if it's paying rent or what they're doing with this money, but they're not investing it in the project that it was intended for. So that's a little odd. And I've had that experience before where people, it's kind of that contractor, kind of builder contractor construction situation where you get somebody to put money up front on a project, and then once that money is in the hands of the people that are managing the project, they start to get all of these ideas about, well, we could probably do it cheaper, and we could find cheaper artists, we could find, we can outsource this to overseas studios, we could do something and keep much more of this money than we could otherwise. And I think that happens with building projects and stuff. That's why when you have bridge collapses and apartment fires and things, and then you find out it's because somebody saved money by pulling smoke alarms or fire suppression systems or whatever from budgets, that's why. And so I feel a little bit like that's what's happening here. Is they've got this money and they're like, oh wow, yeah, let's see if we can, do we really want, the budget that we had, that we can probably do better than that, and then we can keep the money, that we can keep everything that's extra. So that's odd, because I guess they're just counting on never being audited, or I don't know, or they can, play with the books and inflate expenses and costs and things. But I have a feeling some shenanigans are going on with that, and that's kind of slowing things down and kind of keeping me from starting anything. So that's where that is, and that's very frustrating. So if you've had that experience too, I think it's rather common. I think people, as soon as things actually materialize and there's actually money involved, and there's a little bit of a lack of accountability, then things like this can happen, and misappropriation of funds, as they say. So I've had that. I've been involved in a few things like that, or where certain parties have been stiffed, just like they just don't get their last payment. And, you hear about that in construction a lot too, people that do the work and then never get paid for it because the money's already spent. And yeah, that's how you play games and save money. The same way that you get, billing departments, the kind of accounts receivable, or those departments in big companies pushing you to their next quarter or their next month to try to, manage, just make the books look better, not spend as much this month to look more profitable or whatever they're doing. So you get some of that with freelance, but then you also get this kind of stuff where the money is there and then people are trying to figure out how to play with it and spend less than they originally talked about just to pocket it. So we'll see, because I don't know, it's not good. And you have a lot of people that manage this kind of stuff, living ridiculous lives, renting crazy houses and apartments and things that they have no business renting, and then suddenly, wow, we can pay our rent this month. It's ridiculous. And then I think that once I started leasing luxury cars, that was a godsend for these people that want to pretend that they're wealthy. They can just make ridiculous monthly payments, and they can do that by, all they have to do is put a project together every 6 months that doesn't go anywhere and stay ahead of the people that are ever going to try to collect on that. because it's an investment. And there's a possibility of, there's always risk. Always risk involved. And the risk involved mostly is people running away with the money. Yeah, I think that's, we've seen that a lot on Kickstarters, especially. People will, you know, they've done their best efforts, but they haven't been able to complete a project. And then you find out, oh, well, then they, you know, roofed their house or started construction of a new house somewhere. And realize, oh, maybe they were planning that all along. Or companies that, you know, it's their first project and they're a new studio and they, you know, needed to pay for their office space and they needed to do this. And yeah, silly. All right, so thinking house plants. So let's do a little of that. But yeah, so that's, I don't know what's going on with that. I'll watch the mouth noises. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with that, so we'll see what happens and if I'm ever going to be actually working on that project. We'll see. It's more mobile game fun. Which, yeah, the vast majority of mobile game projects that I've been involved with have kind of lost their financing and kind of fallen apart, or just a lot of miserable ends. And I think still because there's a lot of an atmosphere to the uneducated or you know, naive, just like with you know, virtual currency, that there's money to be made. And so that American mentality, that get rich quick American mentality, is there. And you have people thinking that they're going to be able to release a mobile game and get noticed amongst the, you know, thousands that are released daily, that are, you know, basically asset flips or just, you know, being churned out in Russia or China or wherever by studios just flooding the market with knockoff. Because there are so many companies. I don't, you know, this is not so interesting, and probably there's people that know a lot more about this that could describe this more interestingly, but there are companies that, you know, sell source code written for you know, popular game. Once something becomes a popular type of game, then they release source code for it, so you can just kind of reskin the game and release infinite duplicates of that game. And you know, so that's what the stores on your phone are flooded with. And then, you know, occasionally there's another breakthrough and another thing that people enjoyed playing, and I think it's a little big, and then that gets knocked off. Yeah, I drew that really big. Yeah, not what I was thinking. Let's go back to this. Okay, sorry about that little chime there. Yeah, I guess if we're not, this kind of changes the scale of things. I was talking and not drawing, so I messed that all up. But yeah, I'm still getting a terrible glare on my screen, which is making things a little tricky. If you notice, I'm moving my head around to try to see what I'm doing. Yeah, I think skinnier is better with this. But at the same time, I don't want to mess up the lines very much. I don't know. We'll see. Just keep going. So yeah, professionally. So yeah, that would be nice, because I would definitely like to get something going freelance wise while I'm doing this, but we'll see. Something small in a pot. Yeah, I'm drawing these pots way too big. But yeah, so that'll be a common thing you may run into in your freelance career, is greedy people. And it kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's always you know, you can often probably trace it to wives or mortgage payments, or, you know, people that have just created a lifestyle for themselves that they can't support. And especially if they did it, if they established it with a 9 to 5 job and then suddenly, you know, left that situation and are trying to find ways to fund things. It's difficult. But yeah, I would often, or I would probably be able to credit a lot of that to pushy spouses in situations where they wanted to. I don't like this pot. Yeah, where they shouldn't have been doing that. They shouldn't have been running projects. You should just be working your office job. If you've gotten yourself buried in car payments and insurance and mortgages and all of that, just stick to your office job. You know, that, I mean, that's the thing that you sacrifice when you're working for yourself, is that the security. And so that means you don't get yourself bogged down in all of that ridiculous things that Americans love to overwhelm themselves with, and then you can't, you know, exploit other people and manipulate systems to just make your stupid house payment. That's, yeah, very, very frustrating situation. And I think in a lot of cases it's probably criminal if anybody is, you know, inclined to follow through on it or look it up, the way that, you know, people abuse funds. But yeah, I'm on the kind of outside of that, so I just watch all that nonsense happen. And it's, you know, it's happened a few times, so it's not that rare. So I guess you just better, I think all of this comes down to, I think every time I've ever said anything about freelance, it just comes down to working with good people, working with people you can trust and know that they're respectable. Because the little bit of, you know, business I've been involved in with other people, it feels so much like a bad heist movie. It's just a bunch of people deciding at what point they think they're justified to try to, you know, take the money and run. Get a bunch of people with, you know, everyone's got a gun behind their back and waiting to get into a situation where it would be very difficult for you to argue why, or, you know, or have no recourse when they could just, you know, run away with everything. That's very ugly. Yeah, I think we've got a houseplant kind of thing going here. I don't know. But yeah, that's always a thing to pay attention to. And that's the, you know, once you find good people to work with, it's good to, you know, nurture those relationships and try to maintain that, because there's a lot of bad people out there, and I think they're all on Craigslist. No, but yeah, you need good. You need to be recommended, and you need people to recommend, and you need to recommend people. You know, once you find good situations and you know people that do good work, so then you can have much happier, safer, more comfortable, creative lives that actually, you know, make money. So, and I think that's, you know, I think this has come up before, but I think that's a big function of art school, is just basically to network and get to know people that are then going to go out into the industry, and then, you know, you can help each other. That's what they always talk about, you know, school mafias, you know, because they help each other and hire each other and try to people that they like, or people that they like working with, you know, they try to keep bringing them into projects. So they call that a little bit of a mafia type approach, because you're just, you know, you're helping your family, you're helping your friends and your family. But yeah, this may work. Okay, well we have 2 exciting. Actually, maybe I should do 3. I think we're okay. So there'll be another stream very soon because yeah, I'll do the stream for next week pretty soon here. So less than a week between this time, and hopefully we'll see if it doesn't appear it doesn't appear that this timing has helped in any way. And there's so few people that are subscribed. I don't think a lot of people get notifications, if there even is someone. Yeah, it's the usual bustling crowd, the roar of the crowd watching. Although I should count my blessings. I'm sure if I start having to talk to people, because it's just me here. So if I just me talking to people, then I'm not going to be able to draw, and then these streams are going to turn into insane marathons. Okay, well, let's color some things while we're still going here. Yeah, the glare is terrible. I thought my glasses were helping, but yeah, they aren't at this point. Yeah, so maybe with I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do about the background, because I thought it was interesting to have a, you know, living, moving background with real live people. Look, there he is, there's that guy, with real live people and things going on in the background. But it does blow out. It does make a kind of a weird lighting situation. It may just be better to try to control it a little bit more. I thought natural light was good, but it's just hitting me from behind, so we'll see. But anything is better than that weird corner I was doing this from at the beginning. If anybody remembers that, that's a that was a real odd, looking at the back of my head with the microphone behind me as well. Okay, so actually I don't think I should do brown paper bag, because I think I want this to be like a donut bag. So maybe I'll do like a bluish, whitish, and maybe just off-white. But maybe off-white, a warmer off-white, because I'm going to put rain on everything. So yeah, something like that might work better. Okay. So we'll do our little donut bag here. Oh, good. And probably a red-ish umbrella to try to, because I think all the water effects I want to do are blue, so red might be nice. Oh, so yeah, nothing but the rain. I mean, that's been all that's been going on. Really fun. Yeah, and that's a different, I mean, you know, people that are living in different parts of the world will have a different understanding of rain and how miserable that can make you. Because I don't remember rain ever being such a problem. It was different in Los Angeles. The rain was rare, and there was kind of that, you know, rainy season. And because of everything's covered with deserty grit, and the roads, you know, get very little rain, so they're covered with they're covered with whatever is dripping off all the lubricants and things dripping off of the cars, that you get that weird slime. Like the first few minutes of rain, the roads get really crazy. And I remember people, rain would start and they would just pull off the road immediately, like it was the end of the world. And so, coming from the Midwest, that was very funny for me to see people so upset about rain, but then, you know, finding out, well, there actually is a justification for that, because it is, you know, people have had bad experiences, just like in the Midwest you have those the black ice, you know, people that slide off the road because they run across ice that looks like it should be okay. Maybe not there. Yeah, just ice at night that's hard to see. Black ice. Looks like the road, but it's shiny and super slippery. But yeah, so every region's got its own little special problems as far as as far as how rain deals with their particular situation. Oh, fascinating topic, I know. I'll try to hit this edge here. So, doing the little bit of coloring and highlights here. Yeah, I don't think, maybe on the handle, I will do something a little more plasticky and dramatic. But I think for the umbrella itself, the fabric of the umbrella, I'll try not to be so shiny. Although it is wet, so maybe I will need to do that. But I'm worried I'm making everything too shiny recently. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, maybe this is a way to do this. Yeah, so keep talking. So if you're only listening to this, it's not making you want to die. Yeah, just not a tremendous amount of things going on. I've kind of slowed down just about everything. So, I don't know. It's hard to get engaged and care about a lot of things recently, but there's always that. Okay. There we go. All right. Something like that. And maybe the underside of the umbrella needs a little bit more going on here. There we go. All right. And then we'll put a shadow under the umbrella. Oh, actually, yeah, maybe boom, boom, boom. Yeah, going over the bag as well. So all that I was doing before was meaningless. I love when I realize those things. You spend all this time fussing with a detail and then, oh, I'm just going to cover that up. But that should look a little nicer. And then what I want to do is a puddle kind of water effect. And I guess I'm going to probably be drawing some raindrops as well. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the rain is over at this point, which that might work better. But so we have we'll have, I think I've run into this before where I need to put it behind the objects, which I will do. There we go. And then it puts under the shading as well. Okay. And then yeah. But then on top of this, I want to do kind of a wet bag kind of thing. Which I will do like this, and then have to lighten that up. Actually, it needs to go on top of everything, because even the stripes and such need to look wet. And then bring that down a little bit in transparency. So the bag, and a bag is actually shouldn't be blue, should it? Getting wet. It should be wet bag color. So what is wet bag color? Let's find out. Oh, Yeah, so wow. Yeah, and then at the same time I think I've already, there we go. That should be better. Don't want it to look like grease. My usual grease drawing. And I think actually, yeah, well, I guess it's okay. I guess that looks okay. As far as drops on the umbrella. Okay, so the umbrella's got a little bit of wet on it, and I think I need to go back and maybe highlight some of this. So I'm just putting a little highlights in the drops to make it jump. And I always have to pay attention or be careful of, because I scale this considerably, that the says that I'm drawing, and then the size the actual cartoon is posted at, like, 600 by 480. It's a pretty tiny image, so I don't want to do too much detail, but you want to have enough going on that it's yeah, at least makes sense. But I think I've done things a little small detailed, so actually putting eyes on these guys is going to be fun. Yeah, and I wanted to have the umbrella full of water. Oh, but it's not actually, the way I've done the shadow, it's not actually on the ground. Yeah, let me broaden that shadow, so hopefully it'll read a little bit more like it's sitting on the ground. So the shadow's gonna have to come way up behind it. Looks like it's been just skewered into the... yeah, hopefully that's enough. I don't think I tilted it enough originally, but we'll see. Okay. Do a little maybe here. Yeah, maybe. Something like that. Oh, that's right. And I need to give this water a little shininess as well, or it's not going to read quite right. Oh, and also, if the bag isn't casting anything. All right, something like that. It's a little silly, but I think it works. Okay, so here's what I was talking about as far as the eyes. Yeah, I think it's okay. Those are going to be tiny. But that should work. So he was relying on the umbrella to be far more useful. Oh, come on. Get some saving problems here. There we go. His big fat mouth. There it goes. There we go. Okay, so he yeah, that works okay. He was relying on the umbrella to be much more useful in this situation. Yeah, I think I should put some put some water in the umbrella just so it reads. That might be a fun little detail, and I need to do that. Little detail is if the umbrella looks like it's overflowing with water. Yeah, that might be a little bit subtle, but yeah, maybe that works. Okay, so we have this, and all of it looks a bit low. So I'm going to try to pull everything up and over just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, the more I stream this cartoon, the more I realize it's maybe it's not the ideal candidate. There's probably much more interesting things I could be drawing. But this is the thing I do regularly, so it'll work the best. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's enough. And maybe I should stop talking to creative people because I don't know if this is actually that attractive to creative people as far as watching, because as an audience, because it's not going to teach you a heck of a lot as far as how to do things. I think everything I'm doing is pretty basic, and if you're doing digital art, you may be way beyond a lot of this. Anyhow, maybe not that dark. So, yeah, I can't say that I'm offering up a lot here, but yeah, but hopefully just, talking through the creative process, helps give you ideas of your own, or at least motivations about how to work. Oh, that should probably be sandier. How to do your own work, and kind of helps get you focused on your own creative process and all that good stuff. Oh, the terracotta color needs to be a little more red. Terracotta. More saturated, I think. Sure. I think that does it. Okay. And then I want to... yeah, I guess it's a bit of a stretch. I'm not sure if there is enough in the audio part of this to make a very interesting audio-only podcast and not have people... Yeah, I think I need just a bit more structure. I need to, kind of have topics planned out, and be much more aware of when I'm just talking about what I'm doing, or I'm not doing anything but just making sounds while I draw. I think that's a very uninteresting thing to ask people to listen to. So, the search goes on for how to make this work. Yeah, something like that. Just gonna edge the plant so visually it's a little more interesting. What am I thinking of doing this? A rhododendron? What I'm thinking of it's got to be a 70s houseplant that has this kind of nonsense, and that's why it's kind of making me think this way. All right, and then our lovely cactus, which I don't think I'm gonna do anything else to aside from the lighting. Yeah, I think that works. And then we'll do this black and white. Oh, sorry, leaning off camera. Yeah, that was the thing. I did some miniature painting on stream, and that's a real tricky thing because you've got and if you're focusing on what you're doing, you've got very little range with between what's on camera and what's not. So it made it very tricky to keep things visible to people. And with doing something like that, I think that's what people are more interested in, is technique and how-to, much more than this. I don't think this is much of a how-to. As far as I don't think people will be tuning in to find out how to do stuff as much as more hobby-based things. A lot of hobby stuff is just tutorials. But yeah, so that was quite difficult to master the talking and painting and keeping on camera the whole time, because either my head was down like this or my hands were off the side of the frame, making it really, really useless to people trying to see what I was doing. But yeah, I think it's a learned thing. You just take all that stuff takes much more practice and a bit of planning. You know, you need to be more aware of what you're doing. Okay. So let's put some highlights here. And I think I've got some good colors so that the light, yeah, so this is showing up a lot better. Yeah, it's a very, you know, like yellows and reds, because I guess, you know, saturated colors. If you're less saturated, then when you're doing this kind of highlighting, it shows up much better. Because saturated colors, you don't see this much. There we go. So if you're trying to do bright plasticky things, you can't be very subtle with how you do your lights. Yeah. Wow, look at that zoom. Yeah, so undo if I missed my control key. You get that lovely super zoom. All right. Yeah, I think that. Actually, for this sand, I think I want a little more of that texture too. Okay. I think that's working. So shadows around the pots, under these dead leaves. Okay, silence again. All right, so we have various houseplants. So we'll make the cactus a little shinier. I think that'll look nice. And not the pots, and yeah, I guess maybe these leaves too. I just remember these being quite. I just need to get that brush down. Yeah, that's just, looks like a little much. I guess a little bit kind of helps get across the idea. It's a live, happy living plant. All right. Yeah, that'll work. Anything else with the cactus? No. Get more colorful. Yeah, the spines. He's gonna look like he's got eyebrows when I put eyes on it. Nice. All right. Let's try this. Oh, actually, yeah. If I'm doing the pots, I won't have to have that problem. There we go. And again, I've got everything shifted, so I'm going to move it back to the other side. Yeah, it's always once I do drop shadows, everything feels like it's a little bit too far to the right, and yeah, try to balance it a little bit better. Yeah, that was the thing when I was drawing with marker on paper. I would, if I hadn't composed it particularly well on the actual paper, the marker drawing, I would reposition it often after I scanned it just to kind of help things. So that's always been a cheat, even when I was physically drawing it. But, okay, so now we are to the finished drawing portion. So I guess all that's left to do is writing. So that means, boom, all right, the convenience store portion of the show. Maybe I should have music in the background, or just like the ambient sound of a convenience store, the the door chime and cash registers or whatever. All right, so I gotta work on this a little bit, because summer is coming and there'll be a lot more kind of seasonal, trendy, fun stuff. So as far as like candy and snacks and stuff, I'll go for that a little bit harder. Yeah, and drinks too. There's a lot of stuff. But today I will share with you. Ooh, I'm a little off center here. Maybe. Oh, here we go. There we go. So today I will share with you the interesting thing that I think got much better, and I think the competition between the stores made this much better, but the store brand snacks. Okay, so each of the stores has their own store brand, and once upon a time, I don't think the quality and everything, I think it was much less. The quality was just much less, and it was kind of generic things, and everything is pretty much $1 or 100 yen, so it's very cheap, and it's a pretty small portion as well. But here are the okay, so here are the shimichako corn stars. They're kind of like stars with holes in them shaped, right? So this is the actual brand. So you can buy this brand, but this of course is the Family Mart version of that, which gives you a little bit better price and very comparable quality. I haven't opened both, but if they're willing to put their logo on it, then it must be comparable to the original. So this is saku saku to, what is it? Rokkeru. What they're saying is crispy and melty. So this does both because it's corn. That's why it's corn. Yeah. So chocolate. So it's chocolate and corn. So corn is corn. If you want to do an R, you just do a long O, I guess, for the katakana English. And so it's chocolate covered corn stars. You don't taste the corn. It's not very corn based, but it looks insanely like breakfast cereal. And so you might be tempted to try to, and they even are putting it in a bowl on the front of the package, putting it in a bowl and put milk on it. But I will warn you, it is way too chocolate coated, and that's why it's melty. That's why they call it melty, because the chocolate will melt on it. There's no way you're gonna have a satisfying bowl of these if you put milk on them, because they're way too hard, and they're meant to be held. So here's what the actual thing looks like. So we'll give you a little bit of a comparison, and they usually do a pretty good job. They're not lying too much. I mean, they maybe make the color a little bit warmer, but it's pretty much like that. It looks like a piece of breakfast cereal, and it's good. They're crunchy and very light. So you have a whole range of snacks, from potato chips and okaki kind of beer snacks to all the sweet snacks and chocolate covered peanuts and things, and they're all very cheap. And I don't know, eating on camera and microphone, sorry about that. But yeah, so these are, and they do leave chocolate on your finger, so there's enough on there that they do melt. But the quality of these, at least just in my experience, has gotten much higher, and they've gone after brands to actually do the store brand packaging. And that's actually a decent section in most of the convenience stores, where I think if you were going to, in an American convenience store or whatever, their store brand you might avoid, or only if you ran out of money would you even entertain that section. But they're very competitive, and then also that bleeds into their coffee selection. So a lot of them now have cappuccino, espresso kind of drinks that are okay. They're comparable to what McDonald's is doing here. So it's still a machine, kind of an instant machine. You just push a button and it's all made in this machine. But it's okay. It's so they're competing for that kind of Starbucks money. People that don't necessarily want or care about the quality can get the cheap store brand coffee and the cheap store brand snacks, and that's become an actual thing. I mean, I think that's saved a lot of people a lot of snacking money. But yeah, you'll see a lot of interesting things in that section, and it's a good place to cheaply try a bunch of Japanese flavored and style snacks if you want to do that, instead of risking the huge bag of something that you taste and it's like, oh, this is shrimp flavored and I don't want to eat this. it's a little more painless way to buy snacks in Japan. And I just noticed, so it is, I think there is a kind of a, or at least they know that tourists are going to be there, because it's printed in English down here. Like everything that's here is printed in English down here. So they're saying Shimichako corn, crispy and melty, crispy bite-sized chocolate snack melts in your mouth. So there's actually some kind of marketing and a little bit of description in English, so you're not so blindly because it does. if it didn't have the cute little star, it does have a little dog food like appearance on the front of the package. So that might be a little confusing for people. So that's interesting. And I guess as Family Mart gets a little bit more and more global. I don't know if they are outside of Asia yet, but as it get more global, maybe they are going to have multilingual packaging. But it's very funny. So that's an interesting section, and I guess I could have gotten a photo of that, but it's an interesting section that's worth checking out because it's small, there's a big variety, and everything is usually 100 yen. So a fun place to try a lot of different things, a very low risk, trying different flavors and things at the convenience store. And so don't dismiss it as you would if you saw that maybe in an American store, because it's actually decent quality, and it's just, I think they're making their money, but just by giving you smaller amounts of things. But it's definitely worth checking out if you're in any of these places. And I promise this will get more interesting as I think of more ideas. We'll have different tastes of things and whatever. So, but here is the chocolate. It's actually, that's not a insignificant amount. It's pretty decent for 100 yen. They're saying 63 grams. So, and because these are kind of light, but that's, the bag is more than half full. So that's good. That's better than you do with potato chips usually. But so you can have delicious melt in your mouth little chocolate stars on the cheap. And and it's a good way to try different brands of things, because I think the regular bag of these is going to be a bit bigger than that, and then of course cost more. So that's that. So Japanese convenience store information. I don't know. We'll try something. We'll try another thing, and hopefully this will get more interesting. And if this is an unnecessary, annoying interruption, please let me know in the comments. Back to the drawing. Okay. So now these snacks are going to be right off camera, tempting me this whole time. I promise I won't eat them, but I will have some coffee. Okay. So back to the joke writing portion. Okay. So the idea that I was thinking about with the umbrella failing, he expected the umbrella to be far more useful in a downpour. He expected, I got an S in there. He expected the umbrella to be far more useful in a downpour. That's, it's the disappointment I'm trying to, I'm trying to get across the disappointment. I think that does it, right? He expected the umbrella to be far more useful in a downpour. Downpour, one word? Sure. I feel that it is, and I'll find out when I do some spell checking. I'll come back to that, because maybe there is a more interesting way to say that, or there's something else. Because his association or his relationship, he expected to be drier, having an umbrella for a friend. Something like that. Okay, and then we've got the plants. So this, I don't want to do kind of a hair loss joke or anything. So so I guess my original, maybe I want to do, sorry, I'm always pulling this nonsense, but I'm a little distracted. The cactus looks really flat, so I'm going to come up with a more yellowy highlight to kind of give it a little more, something a little more saturated. It's very mint green looking. So do something to give, I don't know, give it a little bit of texture. Oh yeah, maybe just kind of this deal will help without and not making that a just that highlight color, because that's very white as well. Oh yeah, I gotta figure that out as well. Yeah, something like that to kind of. Oh. Another little memory hiccup. But yeah, I want to put something more to give a little more visual interest to the cactus. I think it's looking odd. Or maybe I should just go with that whole thing should be that yellow green. Oh wow, neat. Maybe. Ah, no. Ay. Okay, and then just maybe bring this down a little bit. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Okay, see, procrastinating because I'm not hitting the idea. Oh, sorry. Let's see here. Let's see. I was thinking about the. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm all stuck here. Okay, so he was expecting what they were all expecting, or. Yeah, so I think in the eyes here it'll help by making him sad. Oh. Making him sad. Okay. All right, so let's see here if. Okay, so as far as the writing, so there was there we go. There was little doubt that he would be no. Let me see. So the plant had died and he didn't think, he was thinking more about what that meant for his future, or yeah, just kind of out of it. Let me see. Yeah, this isn't coming together the right way. Yeah, not being a house plant, no longer being okay. Yeah, so maybe just pretending. Yeah, how much longer he could pretend. Yeah, maybe I think pretending is a good. He wasn't sure how much longer he could pretend to be a house plant. Well, his failure as a houseplant Okay, so he was looking for a reason. He was looking for a cause. He was looking for... yeah, he was looking for a... his failure as a houseplant. Yeah, his coming to terms. Yeah, a slow coming to terms with his failure as a houseplant. Yeah, so he was slowly coming to terms with his... he was slowly coming to terms with his failure. Slowly coming to terms with his failure as a houseplant. Yeah, I think that hits it hard enough. Slowly coming to terms. Well, I thought I could put this down further, but I'm actually have to put this up here further. He was slowly coming to terms with his failure as a houseplant. Okay, I think that works. And I will spell check off camera. All right, so he was slowly coming to terms with his failure as a houseplant, and no fault of his own, right? And he expected the umbrella to be far more useful in a downpour. Both of these starting with he. Maybe it's her. I think she was slowly coming to terms with her failure as a houseplant. Might be more interesting. Okay, so I think that is the stream for this week. So thank you for being here on your Saturday night, if in fact you were, and otherwise, thanks for watching from the archives. So don't forget, I'm keeping this stuff off camera, but so don't forget, if you enjoy this cartoon and would like to support it by becoming a patron, there's an opportunity for original art, like something you would see here, and also signed copies of books. So the collection of misdeeds, mistakes, and misunderstandings of the best of the first 1,000 domestic abuse is still available, and you can get a signed copy. So thank you for watching, and please follow me on Twitter with this cartoon at Abuse Cartoons. And of course, the Patreon is patreon.com/abusecartoons, and the website abusecartoons.com. And eventually that will have everything all hooked up so you can maybe watch the stream or easily be connected to it by just being there or various other means. But please subscribe on YouTube to be notified, as well as Twitter to be notified of when this stream goes live. And of course there will be an archive on both Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube of this stream. So thank you again for joining me, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.